As Carl said last night, the assassination of Charlie Kirk is the exact definition of a culture clash. We're seeing a massive divide in our nation right now, not between left and right, but between humanity and evil. Evil, like people celebrating or trying to defame the dead. Stephen King even tweeting out this. He advocated stoning gays to death, just saying. Charlie Kirk has never said or advocated for such a vile thing. And when King was called out for the blatant lie, he gave some lame apology. Here's what he wrote. I apologize for saying Charlie Kirk advocated stoning gays. What he actually demonstrated was how some people, it is unbelievable. This guy, Stephen King, too little, too late. Because we thought the monsters were only in your books, but clearly they're scarier and they got nothing on you. Joining me now, Mary Rook, Daily Caller columnist and analysis writer, also with us, Cliff Maloney, Republican strategist. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Mary, Stephen King, he's this Hollywood celebrity. You know, I'm not a big fan of cancel culture, but that guy needs to be canceled. Who says such a vile thing? And then you're seeing all of these kind of celebrities. I even saw that one actor said, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and they want him removed from movies. You know, Hollywood's demonic. They're demonic, and they're just showing their true colors at this point. So I kind of am glad that this is happening, that we're seeing them for who they really are.
Yeah, exactly. I have 2 points to make on this. One is that I wish that, everybody who is raising money for Erica Kirk would start a fund for her to be able to go after the people that are defaming and lying about her husband, and be able to get some sort of justice for this, because the man is not even in the grave yet, and they are, just saying the most awful and horrible things about him. It's sad and depressing state of where our world is. And the other thing I'd like to say is, this isn't cancel culture to make these people come around and force an apology out of them and force them to stop doing what they're doing. What cancel culture is what's happened to the right over the last 15, 20 years, where you can't even, say biological fact that a man is a man and a woman is a woman without losing your job. But these people can go around and talk about a man who passed away, who was murdered in front of the world, and say the most hurtful and insane things about him, and yet they're expecting to be able to keep their job? Absolutely not. If they want to play the game that words are violence, then guess what? You're losing your job. You're losing, your ability to have the bully pulpit that you've enjoyed for the last 2 decades. It's got to stop, the insanity. And I'm so tired of the left claiming that, it's the right with, how we're pulling everybody into a frenzy, when it's literally the left talking about people as if they're not even human, as if they're less than dirt. It's got to stop.
It really does. And, we do have freedom of speech, but we also have consequences to that free speech. And Cliff, and let's remember what disgraced MSDNC analyst Matthew Dowd said that got him fired. Here's that clip to refresh everyone's memory.
One of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
And now Comcast had sent out a memo with the company writing that coverage was at odds with fostering civil dialogue and being willing to listen to the points of view of those who have differing opinions. We should be able to disagree robustly and passionately, but ultimately with respect. We need to do better. But Cliff, this guy doesn't get it. He's actually kind of almost doubling down on his comments. He says MAGA got him fired, and not his vile words. So these people will never learn. That is the ultimate lesson here.
Look, he's tone deaf, right? I mean, the guy's a scumbag. I hate to say it on the air, but when you see these vile comments, you just have to be straight with people and you have to call it like it is. The left is not learning. They are doubling down. They talk about hate. Listen, I've spoke at Turning Point events. I've worked alongside Charlie Kirk. They're the least hateful people in the world. We are pro-America. We want to bring people together. And I just want to say here on the air, Charlie Kirk was an American titan. He said what he believed. He believed what he said. I'm so horrifically sorry for Erica, for the kids. But one promise we all need to make to Charlie is to make this a moment where this deranged lunatic took his life, but it ignited a movement. We need to just be getting started. And I think that's what's going to happen and what you're going to see moving forward from every single pro-American patriot out there.
You know, and another embarrassing headline from ABC News criticizing Trump for not mentioning Republican political violence. Look at this headline. Trump condemns political violence but doesn't mention attack on Democrats. The article went on to write, while President Donald Trump has called for an end to political violence following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, he did not recognize or acknowledge the recent attacks, violent attacks, and killing of Democrats. We see the violence is from the left. We see it BLM, you name it. If this had happened to a George Floyd type of person, there would be riots in the streets. There would be cardboard or whatever. What's that called? What's that that you put? They put the wood on the storefronts.
Yeah, the particle board.
Yeah. To stop them. I mean, and instead, what do you see? What do you see people doing? They're praying. They're singing Amazing Grace. So what do you think about ABC News trying to kind of say, oh, well, it's the right too. It's not just the left.
It's because they've been caught. This is the perfect example of what left-wing violence is. I mean, the last 8 mass shooters were from the left. They were these trans activists. I mean, we know exactly what it is. I think that's the reason why you're seeing this like huge uprise and just regular everyday Americans going, gosh, this was too much. This was too far. We can no longer sit back and be silent. I'm seeing it all over my personal social media pages. I mean, you know, I feel like it's been kind of wild. I have friends who are, you know, left and right and somewhere in the middle. And even my friends that are in the middle are standing up and going, this is wrong. And I think that what happens with ABC and the CNNs of the world is that they look at themselves and are like, oh no, we are part of the problem. We're the reason why this violence has gotten so bad in America, because we literally whipped these people up into a frenzy by telling them that anyone on the right or Republican is a Nazi, is a fascist, is trying to ruin the country, is ruining democracy, all of those things. And so because they're doing that, they have to then try and shift the blame so that they can continue to peddle that fear, continue to peddle those lies without consequence, with getting away with it. And ABC should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, if you look at all of the comments underneath those posts when they're posting them on social media, people are outraged over it, outraged at the tone deafness of it, and just how callous and disgusting it is.
It really is. We got to leave it right there. Cliff and Mary, thank you so much. I think these people, at this point, they're like demonic, because I can't understand it. We got to leave it there. Thank you, guys.